2 years ago, I embarked on a routine walk through the woods, a familiar activity I often indulged in, particularly during the summertime. On this particular day, I set out early, choosing a different path that led me alongside a remote river. Despite the serene surroundings, an unsettling feeling crept over me. Ignoring it, I pressed on, exploring the deep woods for hours. The unease persisted, intensifying with every step. I constantly glanced behind me, an instinctive reaction to the growing discomfort. The woods, usually a haven for me, now felt increasingly isolating. Determined not to succumb to irrational fears, I continued my journey. However, as I delved deeper into the woods, the solitude became unnerving. The dense foliage heightened my anxiety, casting an eerie shadow over the once familiar landscape. Trying to shake off the fear, I convinced myself it was a product of my imagination. That's when it happened. A cloaked figure, wearing gloves and a crow's mask, darted out in front of me. My immediate reaction was shock. The figure stood before me, silent and eerie, the mask obscuring its intentions. My instincts screamed for me to run, yet an inexplicable urge to downplay my fear took over. With an awkward attempt at nonchalance, I muttered, "Okay, good one. I'll be on my way now." The figure remained silent, tilting its head as I cautiously circled around it, continuing down the path. The woods, once a sanctuary, now felt haunted by the lingering presence of this mysterious figure. As I walked past, the figure remained, watching me with an unsettling gaze. Attempting to shake off the encounter, I walked briskly, suppressing the unease that lingered within. Eventually, my curiosity overcame my apprehension, and I stole a glance back. To my horror, the figure stood in the same spot, watching me intently. A sinister wave followed, slow and threatening, sending a chill down my spine. In a moment of foolishness, I decided to mockingly flip the bird at the figure, an action I instantly regretted. The figure's response was swift and unsettling. It transitioned from a stationary wave to an unhinged, demonic run in my direction. Panic set in, and I sprinted away, the figure's chilling noises echoing behind me. The pursuit felt relentless, my heart pounding with the fear of impending doom. The woods that had once felt comforting now seemed like a labyrinth of horrors. Just as I feared the worst, I reached an open footpath, where joggers and dog walkers provided a sense of safety. The figure, unable to follow into the open, ceased its pursuit that I reported the incident to the authorities, recounting the bizarre encounter. I managed to catch a bus into town, feeling a mix of relief and profound discomfort. The police investigated the area, but the dense woods posed challenges in their search. No evidence or signs of the mysterious figure were uncovered. I returned home, physically unharmed but emotionally scarred. The vivid memory of that chilling encounter haunted my thoughts, and the woods that once brought solace were now tainted by fear. I chose to avoid that area, wary of venturing too far off the beaten track alone. The experience remained etched in my mind, a terrifying episode that left me forever changed. Growing up in a rural town undergoing rapid urbanization, the few remaining woodlands held an eerie aura. The shortcut from our street to various destinations snaked through these woods, a path I dreaded but had to traverse for daily chores. Childhood tales from my older brother painted the woods as haunted, an idea that fueled my fear. During winters, as darkness crept in early, the larger kids lurking behind the trees transformed the woods into a place of torment. Their pranks aimed at frightening younger ones sometimes escalated into demands for money or possessions. As an adult, the fear of the woods had long faded. Returning to my hometown last year during heavy snowfall, I volunteered to walk our elderly neighbor's dog, sparing her the risk of icy pavements. Armed with my DSLR camera to capture the rare snowy scene, I embarked on the familiar path through the woods. A distant scream, likely kids at play, momentarily startled me, but I brushed it off. Enjoying the serene stroll, I paused to capture the snowy landscape at the path's beginning. Chilled and not wanting to tire the dog, I contemplated turning back. Suddenly, I heard hurried footsteps approaching. Instinctively, I decided to hide, pulling the dog into the bushes. A tall man in a black beanie and brown jacket rushed by, hands clenched, looking nervously around. Once he vanished, I resumed my walk, capturing more photos. A later disturbance, a police helicopter, went unnoticed until we were out of the woods. The next morning, the news unveiled a chilling reality. The police were searching for a man who had stabbed 2 women on the same pathway. Connecting the dots, I realized I had encountered the murderer, narrowly escaping harm due to gut instincts and concern for my camera. The twist in this tale lies in the unsuspecting encounter with a criminal. The fear of the haunted woods transformed into a real threat, highlighting the unpredictable nature of the world, where danger could lurk in the most unexpected places. From a young age, the allure of hiking gripped me. Living in a place where scenic views were a stone's throw away, I embraced this weekend ritual. Alone in my explorations, a trusty knife in my backpack was more a symbol than a necessity. Wildlife encounters had never escalated. Until a few days ago. Driving to an unexplored, heavily forested hiking trail, the oversight of approaching dusk hit me. The days were shortening, and darkness would descend earlier than expected. Despite this realization, the decision to proceed with the hike was made, a choice now etched with regret. The bad feelings set in early. Fast forward a few hours, and I found myself 85% through the chosen route. Darkness had swallowed the dense forest, my flashlight only added to the eerie ambience. This secluded trail, majestic in daylight, now harbored an unsettling vibe. Regret gnawed at me, an unwelcome companion in the shadowy woods. It was then that I spotted light ahead on the trail. As my flashlight beamed toward it, the light vanished. A disconcerting situation unfolded, but turning back wasn't an option. The possibility of encountering another hiker in the dark seemed improbable. Approaching the source, I discovered no one. Instead, a large duffel bag lay abandoned on the ground. Scanning the trees with my flashlight revealed a looming figure, a man, perhaps 6.5 feet tall, emerged from behind a tree. My body seized like a deer caught in headlights as he slowly brandished a machete. Terror propelled me into a sprint down the trail, towards my car. Glancing back, I saw the menacing figure giving chase. In the rush, I dropped my backpack to gain speed. Finally reaching a clearing, I spotted my car and sprinted towards it. Keys in hand, I unlocked the doors and ignited the engine in less than 5 seconds. However, the relentless pursuer managed to slash one of my back tires before I sped away. Driving on an almost flat tire for the next 5 miles, I reached home. Once in my driveway, I called the police to report the man, but the uncertainty lingered. Did they find him? Did they even search? A desire to retrieve my backpack, housing hundreds of dollars in equipment, conflicted with the fear of the unknown. Was it still there, or had the man returned? The scariest experience of my life left me contemplating the mysterious encounter. The twist lies in the aftermath, a tale of unanswered questions, haunted by the shadows of a night that brought me closer to death than any hike ever had.